Okay, today I'm going to show you how to use a vocabulary profiler to select words based on frequency. Frequency is one criterion for selecting words for study for your learners. Of course, it's important for learners to indicate to you the words that they don't know, and also for the teacher to select words that are critical to comprehending the text regardless of how frequent they are. But we'll just concentrate on frequency. What you need to do to use a vocabulary profiler is you need some way of getting your text into a computer. So you can copy and paste something from the internet. If you have a physical document, you need to scan it with text recognition, and that a setting is often called OCR, or optical character recognition. Or alternatively, nowadays, you can read something into your phone and basically speak your email, for example, and then email the text to yourself. I won't be covering these two. I'll be concentrating just on this one to demonstrate everything. So once you've secured your text from the internet, you paste it into the profiler, and then you export it to Microsoft Word, and then from there into Excel or Quizlet. So here's the vocabulary profiler page. You'll notice that it's lextutor.ca, and it provides you with a whole bunch of stuff, very often used in research. Feel free to play around. There are tutorials on the web, but we're interested in Vocab Profile. There is the classic version, and then there is the complete version. They provided some basic features and more advanced features. We'll go to the classic just to start, just to give you a basic idea of how things work. So what we do is we go to, for example, the New York Times, we find an article that we care about, and we copy and paste it basically into the window of Vocabulary Profiler. So paste, and then we'll grab a bit more text. Paste, and then grab a bit more text, and paste it. And then you see, of course, there's the comments section, but we don't care about that, so we'll delete that. Okay, then what you're going to do is you are going to submit the window. Now maybe give it a title, gouging. What happens is you get some very basic statistics. So 76% of the text is covered by the 1,000 most frequent words, and 3.34% of the text is covered by the next 1,000, the K2 or 1,000 to 2,000 range. And you'll notice that there's 21 different word families. Okay, 4.87% of the text is covered by academic words from the academic word list, and then off list is 15.74, which is significant because they don't fit into either the 1,000 or the K2 most frequent words or the academic word list. However, I will say that off-word lists very often include words that are critical to understanding the topic of the text. These are just frequency, but we find words that are inherent to the theme or, as I say, the actual topic to be found there, as we'll see. Okay, so this gives you also an indicator of text difficulty. If we were to say that 95% of the total text was covered by combined the first 2,000 most frequent words, we'd say that's a fairly easy text. But of course, this comes from the New York Times, and so the text coverage is covered by not just these, but actually a notable proportion of these other words. What's nice is that you see a color printout. Very handy. Okay. I use the basic profiler that we just used, the classic, because if you want to quickly get to your academic word list, it does a nice little output for you right there. What you see here are all the words that are through this profiler, the off words. And you see that clearly the word drug, while it may not be the most frequent word in the English language, is actually pretty important to the comprehension of the text. And so, regardless of it being off a frequency list, it is pretty important. Also, the word gouge and gouger and gouging. Okay, pharmaceutical, there's another one. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that frequency is not the solution to text comprehension. It just gives you a basic principle for guiding learners' attention. Okay. What I tend to do is I will tend to create a vocabulary study that is at least 50% words from something like this that are critical to comprehension of the text, and then I will broaden learners' horizons with selections based on word frequency. Okay. And of course, I will always ask learners to scan a text beforehand and underline words that they don't know, so that in a way they are indicating to me as a teacher what words they don't know, rather than me choosing them in advance. Okay. So what you can do is you can copy and paste into a Microsoft Word document, but the problem with this particular version is that you get obviously the color of the text and the blocking, and you'd have to figure out your formatting. You also get duplicates, okay, gouging, 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 and you'd have to delete the duplicates out. Okay, so that's one of the shortcomings of the Vocab Profiler Classic. In contrast, select this text again because we want to reuse it. One of the more advanced ones, the complete, is pretty darn useful because it doesn't restrict itself to the simply the blue and green words. Okay. What you get are much broader range of statistics, and so you notice that, same as before, 74% was covered by the blue words, the most frequent, and then a little bit more is covered by the green words, and this is an accumulative statistic. So in order to get up to 94% coverage, ostensibly a learner would have to have an 8,000 word vocabulary in order to understand most of the words on the page. Now, we often talk as teachers about, oh, they just have to guess from context. Well, guessing from context really only works when the learner already knows 95% of the words on the page. If they don't know 95% of the words on the page, then guessing from context is not a reliable strategy for text comprehension. So, and I would say effectively it's not really useful at all. I don't even advocate it for my learners. So we see the word statistics here. And then once again, it's color-coded. And if you scroll down, you see that the lists are here, that the word about was used 4 times, the word act was used once, actually was used once, the word drugs was used 11 times. So we want to extract these words. Maybe I have intermediate learners, and I assume that they know most of the blue words. So I want to extract the green words and maybe the yellow words, the 3000 and the 2000 types. And what I do is I hit the extract button, and it provides a nice text block that I can paste into Word. Once I go into Word, I want to get rid of the spaces and I want to turn things vertical. So I ask it to find the space, and I want it to replace the space with a paragraph mark. All right. And then I hit replace, and it turns everything into a vertical list. Now, of course, what you have is you have multiple spaces here. And so what we want to do is delete multiple spaces. So I'll do 3 paragraph marks and ask it to replace my 3 paragraph marks with a single paragraph mark. I hit replace all, and it puts it in a nice list. At that point, I can copy and I can paste it into a spreadsheet. I can ask, let's see, so I have the word in one column. I can have the definition in another. I can have the part of speech in another. Okay. Furthermore, I can then go to Quizlet and I can create a set of flashcards for digital study. Notice that it says import from Word, Excel, or Google Docs. I am going to paste all the words because I don't have words and definitions. But if I did have words and definitions, for example, from a spreadsheet, I could copy and paste. And I hit, you work your settings down here, hit import. And the next thing you know, all the words that you selected from your vocabulary profile based on frequency are in a study set. Now, there, of course, what we see are 169 words in my study set. That's a bit much for a single learner. So what I would end up doing is I would actually create multiple sets, maybe with blocks of 10 words. Now, another nice feature of Quizlet is the fact that you can add your voice recording of the word. Very often, especially for beginner learners, they need to hear the word and they need to see the word. And so what I do is I might provide a recording of the word, and I'll say about and act. And that way, when they're working online, they can actually hear the word. And then you can create the definition and record the definition. It's a lot of work, and it's maybe something that you do over time. I find that from year to year and semester to semester, the same kinds of words keep coming up, especially if you're teaching particular content area or you've got a particular curriculum. So you can do this work cumulatively over time, and you have a reusable resource. Anyway, that's basics of how to select words out of a text based on frequency. And there are a whole bunch of other features here in this website. Take some time to learn about them. Okay, we could do something like that. Submit, and you see what you got there is a toggle that breaks it down that way. And the nice thing is you have your extract version from your academic word list without any of all the gobbledygook from before.